Okay, so last time we streamed tokens, we drew these 4 characters. They still need to be tidied up, their line thicknesses bulked up so that they fit this kind of style. But the base layer is down, and this guy we drew for a YouTube tutorial. He needs a lot of work. This hanging arm is not serving its purpose. And it's occurred to me I want to skew this guy. Can I skew in Leonardo? I don't think I can. No, I can't. So, can I? No, so I'll keep drawing him as is, and then we'll play around more when I import him into Photoshop. Is my microphone working well? I forgot to double check that. Looks like it's working. Oh, and yeah, we have a new webcam angle. Not sure which one I prefer, whether you'd prefer to watch my furrowed brow or me wiping dirt from my tablet. Yeah, let me know what you'd prefer to see. We also need to get our brush correct. Sorry, all these things I should have done before the stream. Getting them done now. So I'm just going to use these as a baseline and try and get a brush that kind of feels similar. If I really press down, I get, yeah, let's go a bit larger. So this is only stream number 4 or something, so I'm still new to this. Please take it easy on me. It's just been a recent development. I've taken up streaming. I figured if I'm going to work, perhaps people will like to watch me work. And I'm going to edit this so you can see what's happening on the tablet and my webcam. That's not what I want. I don't know, maybe not much can be done for the old webcam. Unless I just zoom it in much more. I've got it sitting on a big bulky tripod behind me. And then the other thing I'd like to see is the actual Twitch chat, so I can interact with you all. Okay, that'll do. We'll see. At least you can see like when I'm using a stylus and when I'm using the mouse. Mouse hand is over here. And when I'm drinking some water. Good stuff. I think I did mean it when I put the shout out. I said I'm drawing a 30-minute monster token. I have precisely 30 minutes, 35 minutes max before I have to be going. So let's move this along. Basically, I want to draw Sahuagin number 2. Because I want like 3 different poses for the Sahuagin. So I'd like to copy you, bring you down here so we can keep an eye on you. I'm trying to remember my shortcuts. I think I'm just gonna Control CV, go down here. Okay, I'm just gonna draw the same thing again, but in different pose. So starting off with that square jaw. I've accidentally drawn it crooked, but I like the idea. Let's draw kind of a sideways face. Just being very quick at this point. And we'll fill in the details later. I think this is throwing me off. Let's just wing it. And then like a little fishy head. So it's kind of looking like a fish now. And then perhaps, do we want him to be hunchback too, or do we want a more upright one? Like our reference image. He's quite upright here, though not incredibly so. But I think for the top-down look, okay, I'm just defaulting to enormous wrestler, Sahuagin. Let's try and consciously make this guy a bit leaner. So we've got some shoulders, we've got a mega hunch on this guy, not a bad thing. And then some pectorals. His gut. Scale's not really following along right now, is it? Perhaps we'll give this guy more frills or something, bulk him up. And then we want like a leg out here, perhaps. A leg out here. Perhaps this leg will be like this. And this one will be like this. And then we'll balance him by throwing an arm out like this. That kind of looks dynamic and fun. Let's work with that. The danger of zooming in too much is that I start drawing at a different scale. So we need to keep him kind of big. Because we determined this last stream as Sahuagin is supposed to be 6 foot. So on the tall side of human being. So let's go with that. Kind of stretched his face to some strange dimensions now, haven't we? Now we can draw the eyes later and come back to the mouth. That's kind of my method, is quick lines, just get the shapes right first. And then if I like the pose, I'll actually put some decent lines down. Like for example, excuse me, that was misclick. For example, I want this guy's leg to be completely different because he's not very top down right now. None of my tokens are strictly top down, but they need to be top down enough to fit in with other tokens. Oh, he's just wearing some nice boots. Nice boots. You only get to keep the boots for the draft layer, Mr. Fishman. Then I'm taking them back. You're going to have claw feet, probably. And then this will be like, there's the elbow, with a fist like this. Something like that. Did I say I wanted to move away from hunchback? Because we've gone full hunchback, haven't we? And he needs to be a bit slimmer too. Something like this. I'd like to set up some more keybinds for Leonardo. I've got this this tablet all set up for Photoshop, but Leonardo's still a bit clunky. Leonardo's my go-to for my Surface computer, but I've only recently started using it on the Wacom. So should we do something different with this guy's frills or just keep it consistent? I think we're just going to go for a different pose, keep everything else much the same. So his center line is going to be down here. Make some space. Like what I'd like is to be able to press this button on my stylus to switch between eraser and pencil rather than venture over here. That'll be super useful. I kind of like this guy on this side has this sort of frill going down his back, but this guy on this side, I kind of want something like this, right? that. It's kind of disappearing when his center line would continue kind of around here. So it's off in that sense, isn't it? Yeah, that's better. And we need something for these big old shoulders. Maybe another clamshell shoulder plate like this fella. Or I think my favorite step is adding boldness to the lines. That's why I'm kind of drawn over here to just go over the lines again. But let's try and resist that. Perhaps just some big gills like that. Gives them a three-dimensional shape too, so it's kind of useful for that too. So it looks like he's wearing a shirt down here. He needs like a distinct crotch, or he needs like this guy. Perhaps that's what he's got. He's got one of those, we're just going full wrestler. He's got one of those big belts. Like that. Like a big armor belt. What are those called? With like a little, I don't know, a little bit of fabric at the bottom. Does that look like fabric or something else? And then at this point we should take his shoes off. Sorry. You don't need shoes, you're a fish. They're just hinder your swimming. And then do I want to go down here instead? Kind of a funny pose. Or do we want that sort of thing? Or do we want to give him skinnier frog legs? In fact, we need to think about where his tail's going, since that's so important to the overall design. We've got a lot of space on this side, or we can flick it up behind him, kind of like that. That's not bad. Or it could even come around in front of him like this. We could cheat and have it wrap around it in front of his feet, so we don't have to draw any feet today. Nobody likes drawing feet. I feel like if he's got any motion to him, it's kind of like in this direction, so we also don't want to just mirror this guy, so I think we'll go with the around and up. Let's work with that for now. Still not entirely happy with where this foot's going to go. Perhaps if we just get rid of it, the whole leg amputated. And then I can start new. Could go right out here and then back. Or we could go in the same direction and then back. Like a, no, that looks strange. Just a straight down. Oops. Maybe this leg needs to move. Maybe we'll go full squat. Let's try that. Over here. And this one just kind of almost mirrors it. Give him a distinct knee. And really all we need is the little foot coming out. That's not bad. He looks ready for action. Just going to add a little bit of sharpness to these lines by tightening the edges up. Kind of adjusting the shapes, especially the shape. He needs a bit of a jawbone. In fact, maybe he needs some big kind of jawbone. This looks like a, I don't know, like piranha. Piranha themed Sahuagin. Pretty excited by that concept. And then I think this pectoral line we could lose and just fill this area in with shadow, or keep the belt line. And in fact, like giving him like a ridge on his head. That seems like an interesting way to add shape up here. Like this, sort of. And we can move this back. Give him a bigger old jaw muscle, so that he really looks like he's ready to chomp someone. We've got to also leave space for these side fins, if we want to use those at all. We don't have to, do we? And then what I'm thinking is there's going to be two areas of fins separated by his skull plate. In fact, do we want a fin up here? I kind of like it the way it is. Perhaps this main one needs to be bigger. We could even swoop it up. That's kind of cool. Starts to look a bit like fur if we do that though. Let's just have three distinct, like having the three spikes, that's kind of a nice shape. How are we going for time? It's 5 p.m. here and I have until 5:20 to finish this guy off. Feeling pretty good about him so far, so 20 minutes of tidying up and refinement will be a good amount, I think. Always like let's zoom out. See, from afar I'm seeing like a very strange shape. You know what we need to do, he needs some definition on his back. And this shoulder also needs to be shoulder shaped. So this is now shoulder. And then I'm just going to wing some back muscles. So shoulder comes kind of like this. And then what kind of shapes in the back? Like that. Okay. Now perhaps these arms should be further back. They need some more muscly shapes to them too. Right now they're just still in the drafting stage. Back, maybe over here. In fact, let's start afresh over here, because that shape we couldn't really work with that. So welcome to the 5 viewers tuning in right now. Please feel free to ask any questions you might have or suggestions, like if you can think of some cool little element to add to this fella. I am foregoing adding any arms to them, not as in arms, but as in weapons, because I'm going to plug them into my token editor on 2minutetabletop.com, which will soon enough have functionality for equipping your tokens with a selection of weapons and shields and other accessories. which means for now they're unarmed, so that later they may have any arm they would like. Can start again on the hand too. These guys, canonically, they do have clothing and some armor, so maybe this guy will have some armor on his wrists, kind of wrist armor, maybe some sizable wrist armor like this. Some Batman spikes. Or if we can think together for some ocean themed arm spike, that would be pretty cool. And then this hand I want to make compatible with with weapons. When he can hold a weapon, I want him to look like he's able and willing to hold a weapon. This is just an oddly shaped bicep / tricep shape. And then we've got, what should we do with this? Bring it around like this, like it's more three-dimensional. I'll come back to it, but that's an interesting shape for now. So essentially that just means I want a fist over here. Because a fist, when we put the armor in, like a trident, will just stick out. Swoop up here perhaps, and come down here like that. See, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'm getting Sahuagin all wrong, but in my mind they're like a strong barbaric race. That's why the selection I have so far is shark themed. Shark men plus bulky man-eating fish. But you know, if perhaps we should make yet another one and give him a lighter build with like some caster looking robes. The gill, I feel like the gill would, where would a gill be on a fish, man? Would it be, especially if he has so little neck as this guy? Would it be here, or like running down the shoulders? Or more down his front? Or somewhere else completely? I'm just like piled up here. Should we give this like an interesting shape? No, that just looks like a loincloth, doesn't it? Just want to draw these lines back in so we can get some sharpness back. You know, now's a good time to draw his feed. Now let's go for the 3 distinct toes. It's very finicky, but hey Gwonkles, thanks for participating. Yeah, upper neck seems right? For the gills. I think I'm just going to put them where they look right on the token rather than where they make sense. So right here seems okay, but my opinions change when I come back and look at this later. So they might be completely different in the final version. I'm also going to just add in some dramatic shadows, bolder shadows. It's a bit of a jaw over here. Still going for the piranha look. Well, if we're going for a piranha look, do we want the creepy googly eyes like this guy? Or is that just too much? I think the small beady eyes, perhaps we should remove all expression. Go for little button eyes. Ooh. Oh, I think that's pretty cool, isn't it? Kind of alien fish man hybrid. Gonna need another pass on the feet, but still kind of working on blocking in shapes. Getting the design right, and then much later come back to get the actual details right. Because if you screw up the design and you've already put in a bunch of details, then all that works for nothing. Like perhaps the gill should be here, on like the front end of the shoulder, right? That makes more sense than down the back of his neck. Doesn't it? I'm kind of creeped out by his face right now. It's kind of hard to look at. Maybe it's this big forehead he's got. Kind of looks... Eek. And then we want the fan down his tail too. How do you feel about that? What's the reference image? His tail ends in like a fighter fish kind of tail. Zoom. Something like... this? That looks pretty cool. And then we can just split this in half, and when we get to coloring it, this will be his fin and this will be his tail. But for now we don't need any extra detail in there. Do we want his skull plate to be more pronounced? You know, I should work more with reference images. Let's pull up a piranha and see what elements will look good. Look at these spooky looking things. So I got here some piranha. So the big eyes, especially if they're red, that's pretty important. Though we have these little speck eye style too. Sorry if anyone's creeped out by fish skeletons or things like that. Big old bottom jaw, that's telling. And then we could copy this sparkly texture too. So there's a few ideas. That's a disturbing image. Well, I think the lower jaw and the eyeballs are the telling part. We've kind of got the lower jaw, looks strong. We could do a little better by bringing it out this way. just a tad. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then if we were to give him bigger eyes, oh gosh, we do better than that. Let's go for it. The beady eyes. Oh, you know what we can do? This kind of eye, really wide eyes. Hey, that looks pretty. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. That's pretty good. Hey, pretty good. Give him kind of some shape. Darker ridge on top for a shadow. And then in the coloring stage, you can also have speckles up here. I kind of want to go back and give this guy piranha eyes too now, so they look like a family. How do I feel about that? Kind of looks like a shell. Okay. Just need some bulk on him. And I got about 2 minutes before I have to wrap the stream up, so back gills look fish-like, yeah. It does, and we need some space in this. He's got a lot of white space up here, so let's go with fish gills on the back. And yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to wrap the stream up after this. A little 2 minutes more of refinement. Let's get, does he need more than one there? Probably not. Further back. Let's go pretty thick on the gills. Yeah, I might play with it more. This foot needs work. His whole bottom half needs a lot of work, but it's getting there. We need to go more froggy, don't we? Skinny legs. Especially the big torso and the skinny legs could be a fun dynamic. Something like that. And then we'll just cut those lines back. And soften the heel so it kind of looks like he's standing on tippy toes. Needs a lot of work. I'm working a bit too fast now because I'm aware of my time limit. It's leading to some shortcuts or carelessness. Maybe needs some distinct knees. They look a bit like pants that way though. But yeah, let's call it quits there. Pretty happy with this guy. I think he's an improvement on Sahuagin number 1. Maybe I'll draw a skinnier version with some fish robes on him, like kelpie robes for a caster variant next time. Perhaps he needs a shape down here of some sort. That would be pretty cool. Let's give it some motion. Yeah, that's a cool shape. Needs some work, but happy with what we've managed to accomplish in 30 minutes. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks, Squonkles, for your suggestions and input. And hopefully I'll be back later tonight, Australian time, to do some more tokens, because I'm horribly behind. Otherwise, I'll be back in the near future. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Please do hit that follow button if you'd like to see more like this. I do plan on streaming almost every day. And other than that, enjoy your evenings / morning / day. And I'll catch you next time. Okay. Bye-bye.